Musicians' Viewpoints. This podcast is by and for local musicians in all localities. I'm your host, Kevin Ronco. Hey, welcome to Musicians' Viewpoints. And today we have a different kind of podcast than we've had previously. We have Krysta Kelley here, and she's going to be talking about an event that she is putting together for mental health. She's going to be putting this huge event together in Las Vegas. And this is so exciting. Oh my goodness. And so important. So please welcome Krysta Kelley. Here she is. Hey, welcome to Musicians' Viewpoints. I'm Kevin Ronco, and today I have Krysta Kelley. And she's got a festival that she's organizing. She's going to tell us about that. We're going to get right to that. And then who knows what we'll talk about. So actually I have a list of questions, but I didn't write them down, so don't hold me to those.
No worries.
All right.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Yeah. So this is our first podcast live in this house. Well, not really live because I'll not post this till probably Tuesday. But,
excellent.
But yeah, actually in person. All the other podcasts have been Zoom, but so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, well, sometimes having a low service out on the farm isn't such a bad thing.
Right. Yeah. Get you out of the house, right?
Absolutely.
After 3 years of everyone being told to stay in their houses,
now
don't
they're
go
trying
anywhere.
To get us out.
And of course, that affected our mental health. So, so you have a festival about mental health. Tell us about that.
Yeah. In August of 2019, I had acetone poisoning, and it mimics a stroke. And I realized I really had no legacy on this planet. I've been a celebrity caterer and private chef for 33 years, but I'm sure a lot of people have good memories of great food, but I don't really have a legacy. So I came up with this idea and started making phone calls in January and February of 2020. And then, of course, everything came to a screeching halt. So I've brought the idea back online, and I now have a nonprofit founded.
Oh, wow.
I've got my domain name. I just got a webmaster yesterday.
Cool.
I think I've locked down a lawyer.
Nice.
I actually have a donation pledge verbally on my first sponsorship.
Wow.
So I'm excited about that. So the
Cool.
next step is Tuesday or Wednesday this week, I'll start calling the powers that be at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and that's where I'd like to have it.
Oh, really?
Because they're a newer facility, so they don't have a lot of annual bookings.
Oh, wow.
I realize places like the MGM, which I love, they've, there's people that come every year and they've booked it for,
right, too far.
It's so far booked out.
Right.
So with the T-Mobile Arena being so new, I'm thinking that my dates would be open. I'm looking at September, Labor Day of 24.
Wow.
That's the plan. It would be great if I could do Memorial Day of 25 because May is Mental Health Month.
Okay.
But I feel like that's kind of a ways out.
Right.
And I feel like it's safer to just let's go Labor Day of 24.
Okay.
I chose Vegas because they've got the infrastructure.
Okay.
They've got the weather, and they had a huge blow from mental health with the shooting at the Country Western, the Mandalay. He'd had a mental health break. Apparently, he'd gambled, lost $1 million gambling leading up to that.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
That was it was a mental health break. If you look at the tragedies, the shootings, someone who loses it and just drives into a crowd of people, I would say conservatively 90 or more % mental health related.
Yeah.
And, we keep saying, we've got to do something, thoughts and prayers. None of that's really doing anything.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it might make us feel better, but it's not helping. And I don't think gun legislation is going to help. I think we need to look at the root causes. And it's really, it's not a specific ethnicity or religion or anything. It's really boils down to mental health. And that is a problem across all spectrum.
I think, I mean, I can't argue with that.
I read a statistic that said the first 6 months of the pandemic, there was a 980% increase in calls to mental health hotlines. And that's, I believe it too. I had a rough patch in the end of March. I couldn't deal with the fact that this was going to be my new life. I had literally rented a home in West Lynn that had a big flat backyard and a covered patio with electricity, specifically to have home concerts and house concerts. And Ray Gordon is a good friend of mine. I was like going to have her in there. And, and then it all ended, and we couldn't do that. So it was really frustrating to have this idea but not be able to go anywhere with it.
It's such a great idea too.
I back in 2019 reached out to some people I know in the industry. Sheila Hamilton has an incredible mental health and wellness website and podcast, and she does TED Talks and speeches, and it's just incredible. And she's written a wonderful book, All the Things We Never Knew, I believe is the title, about her former husband's suicide because he was misdiagnosed and not treated properly. And I know that book, actually, a friend of mine was having some mental health crisis, and he says it saved his life. Wow. So there's someone like her with that kind of impact. I'm excited to have her on board. I reached out to Daniel Baldwin, and he's been doing interventions for people.
Really?
And he doesn't really talk about it, but it's somewhat on his Facebook page a bit. But just people like that have had a career in the industry and then are focusing now on mental health. It's kind of an interesting
that's interesting
career change for a lot of folks. Talked to a gentleman, David Vollrath, up on Salt Spring Island. I believe he's a counselor for parolees, therapist for parolees, and he said he'd jump in and help get the stage put the TED Talk lineup together.
Wow.
There's a client I have named Jack Abbott, has Made for Joy.
Oh, wow.
Which is, they do holistic retreats, and like he's met the Dalai Lama, and just, he does TED Talks as well. I've just got a whole slew of folks I realized in my realm that are in the industry and mental health focused, as well as a lot of musicians. Yeah. So this made sense.
Musicians, I mean, being one, it's the 3 years of twiddling your thumbs and wondering if you're ever gonna, if it's worth even practicing. What does that do to somebody?
It changed. I mean, if you're someone that loves your craft, but maybe you have to really practice at it. That's got to be rough to try and jump back in after the big pause.
For me, I played for a long time. Decades, so I have all that foundation, but 3 years off, it's like you have to rewire your brain to begin again.
I'm sure.
So that's what I'm going through, and I'm sure I put that out there on Facebook the other day, and sure enough, someone else said, I'm going through the same thing.
Well, honestly, I think creatives, I don't know that you can be that creative as a musician or an artist and not have some sort of imbalance somewhere.
Right.
It almost, it's not that it's required, but it just seems like it's part of the life,
Yep.
So I came up with this event. I'm doing 4 days, Thursday, Friday, like a conference, convention floor, vendors, TED Talks. I have a vision for a session called Serotonin Street.
Oh, cool.
And I want to have people that people look to for, they've talked about their own mental health for openly, whether actors or musicians, comedians, and you see them at Comic Cons are willing to do the meet and greet and the photo thing. So we want to do that, and reaching out to like Zach Levi, who I worked on a film with. He's Shazam. He was Chuck back in the day.
That's cool.
Everybody loves him. He talks about his struggles. I'm reaching out to some of the people that, I don't know, I guess influencers is a term. I'm not really fond of that. But people like, there's a guy named Gilly Shine on Instagram. He's a whoosh wizard guy that there's a guy named Brian that does he's been in recovery for I don't know how long now, and he does a really daily positive little affirmation for people. Wow. And there's a woman named Mama Tot, Ophelia, that is just a ray of sunshine. And just people like that people would know.
Right.
Brody and Nala. Brody's this great dog. He's a golden doodle. Oh. And the guy takes him all over the place. Very famous dog. He's got like, one of his videos had like 1 billion. I mean, it's just a crazy amount of fans for these two dogs. And just somebody you want to get your picture with that makes you feel good. And if any of the bands are in town early, the musicians can be there.
Right.
I just want it to be I don't want anything that's polarizing in the event. Cool. Yeah. I have 3 hard and fast rules. If you're on the sex offenders list, can't have you on crew or volunteers because it's too vulnerable population. No politicians or religious figures, but I'm going to make an exception for Arnold Schwarzenegger because that's not how he started.
Oh, okay.
And he's a former client, so.
He's cool. I like him.
And then nobody polarizing. I don't need any Kardashians. I don't need any of these influencers that, the perfect mom with the perfect house that basically makes every other mom with a dirty house feel bad. I just don't want that vibe in there. I just want it to be a really positive experience.
Cool.
So 2 days of that, and I haven't picked a place yet, but once I get the date for the conference or the convention, the concert, then I'll find a spot for the convention. I figured that there's a lot more places to have conventions in Vegas than there are to have concerts.
Yeah, I can see especially where it's a mental health thing, you don't want polarizing,
Yeah, I just want to keep it, I want to keep it, I guess upbeat. Yeah. And actually being a heavy topic, I decided at the end of each of the 2 days of the conference, it runs from 10 to 4, then from 4:30 to 6, we'll have a comedy show in the same space on that stage.
Neat.
My ex-boyfriend is the voice of John Redcorn on King of the Hill.
And
really? They've just, Jonathan Joss, and they've just rebooted.
Great show.
Yeah, they've just rebooted. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're back at it. He's been talking about it on social media, so I don't think that's any big secret now. But I want Pamela Alden. She's the voice of Bobby Hill.
Oh.
And she had a show called Better Things. It was basically about her life as a Jewish mother and comedian and actress in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
And it was on FX. It was a really great show. I don't think it got enough attention. But she is so funny. And then Nicole Byer is my other that I'm reaching out to. She has a show called Nailed It, a baking show.
Oh, really?
Very fun competition.
Okay.
Yeah. She's really body positive and just a hilarious comedian. She's just great.
That's cool.
And then Christine Levine used to live up here.
Oh, okay. That name sounds very familiar.
She's a comedian. She lives up here. She's down in Arizona now.
Okay.
And then Kristen Lundberg. And Kristen Lundberg doesn't even know that I'm put her on my list, but she's on my perfect
go-to
list of who I want to have involved. But so 2 days of that, and then a 2-day concert. Like 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. start times. Cool. I'm hoping they can do alternate ends.
Okay.
Like 2 stages, like we do at the Blues Fest.
Right.
So everybody has a great seat at some point. If you're in the back, we're only in the back half the time. You're in the front the other half the time. And I think that sounds like a way to get bands through quicker.
Okay.
You've got one set up, while the other one's on, and then this one you get 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. And you're like, hey, turn around for whoever.
Have your guitar tuned and just get up there and
so that everything's ready. You can break down and set another band up in the 45 minutes that the other band's playing. It just I think that's going to be the best way to do it to make it fair for everybody to have a good seat.
That's always my thing with festivals is I'm always like, I hope they have this thing organized because there's nothing worse than sitting around and waiting around when it's your turn and you realize that the whole thing's 3 hours late.
Well, right. Awful. And I feel like once this gets out, I think people are going to be interested in playing it.
Right.
I feel like this is going to be.
Yeah.
I like Live Aid. That's what I'd like to see this be the defining moment for our decade, where Live Aid was for the 80s and Farm Aid.
I think it'd be good for the country.
So we reached out back 2020. I reached out to 21 Pilots and Lady Gaga and Billie Eilish.
Oh wow!
And Billie, because she really protects herself.
Yeah,
I respect how she's treated herself versus.
She's cool. Yeah,
she's very much in control.
Yeah, I get
of
that.
herself, her psyche, her body. She's very she drew, really line in the sand and seems to be very protective. And I think that's great.
At such a young age and to have it so together is like she does.
Yeah, because you don't want to see, somebody like Britney Spears who was young and got really manipulated and had just a rough when they were that young.
Yeah.
I think Billie Eilish has really made sure that doesn't happen to herself.
Yeah, she's grounded. Those
Very.
Her and her brother, they're
Yes.
both. That definitely took me a lot longer to get grounded.
Right. I don't know if I'm grounded yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But so reached out
Same
to
here.
those 3 bands, and Billie Eilish's team basically said no right away. Like, they didn't put it to her; they just said no.
Oh, really?
21 Pilots and Lady Gaga's teams were like, oh, well, yeah, give us the information. So I sent them information, and of course the world shut down, so that just got stopped right there. Fortunately, I just worked with a catering manager at the Moda Center, or actually we were at the Coliseum, and he had been on tour with 21 Pilots. So I've reached out to him so he can put me in touch with Fueled by Ramen, which is their management company.
Oh, decent.
But the reason that they're kind of the inspiration for this, besides me having acetone poisoning, I had a housemate that has trigeminal neuralgia, bipolar 1, PTSD, and dissociation disorder.
Oh, man.
Yeah. He was in a mental health crisis. I took him to the hospital. They kept him for 10 days. His doctor said he needed 60 days. And after 10 days, they sent him home, and he didn't really have a place to live. So I took him in as a housemaid, and it was the best and worst year of my life.
Oh, goodness.
He's a wonderful guy. He's literally the guy, if he's in line and somebody's short $10 and he's got 20, he'll give him 10.
Okay.
He's that guy, shirt off your back, sweetest man.
That's so cool.
And with trigeminal neuralgia, he'd been through, I think, 16 surgeries. They call it the suicide disease because it's like having an ice pick in the 3 trigeminal nerves on and off all day. Like, for him to be 500 times a day, here's an ice pick to your...
Oh, that would, I see.
Yeah. So
changes
it was it was hard, but 21 Pilots is what got him through it. He would disappear into his room with their music and he'd come out okay. And that was, and I was barely aware of them before Chris moved in.
Really?
And after that, I started listening to lyrics, and it's
powerful. Yeah,
it really is. And then they do the same thing. They take good care of the mental health of their fan base and themselves. His early concerts, Tyler didn't face this. He faced away from the back of the stage. He did not face the audience. He couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
So anxiety. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
they're pretty impressive in what they've done. And then Lady Gaga, I mean, her little monster. She is like the queen of taking care of the mental health of herself and her fans.
I just adore Lady.
I love that. Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago where that woman was, shame, you're going to hell.
What was this all about?
She was Lady Gaga was walking up some stairs on the way to an event, and some protester, this woman just looked like your typical suburban church mom, the perm and the, shame, you're going to hell. And she kept walking.
To
she
Lady
stopped.
Gaga. Wow.
Yeah. She stopped and she turned around and she looked at the woman. She grabbed her face and she kissed her full on the lips, pushed her face away and said, well, you're coming with me.
Wow.
And this woman just stood there like in shock. It's a great video. It's online all over the place, but
Do
she
not
just
mess with Lady Gaga.
Exactly. just don't. And then there's been some other great musicians. There's a local guy named Logan Lynn.
Okay.
And he talks about his mental health struggles.
Okay.
And he's a great musician. He's a very talented band. I saw him at the Kink Live Performance Lounge back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And he's been doing some iHeart tours,
right.
and I think he was at the Grammys, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm reaching out to him as well. I did in 2020, and everyone basically said, well, when you get your date, let me know. That's what that I've talked to.
Oh, really?
So that's my next step. Got the nonprofit, I've got the domain. I'm going to reach out to T-Ball next week and get that ball rolling and get the dates.
Well, I'm super excited for you and for for all the people who will benefit from what is going to obviously be a great event. So.
Thanks. Yeah, the goal is to raise funds for emergency intake. So somebody like my housemate Chris, they gave him 10 days. He needed 60. His doctor could reach out to the foundation and say, I've got a patient. Insurance is only going to cover the beginning, not his recovery. Okay, great. Then 24 hours, we're going to hopefully have the funds
Cool.
for that. And then people like Daniel Baldwin doing intervention, because I feel like drugs and alcohol are just as important. It's all, usually you're not having a problem with that if you don't have a mental health issue. That's very rarely do those separate. Right. So someone like him could call and say, hey, we've got a patient somewhere that's, they went on vacation and they're stuck in Costa Rica and they're melting down and their parents want me to come. Okay, great. Here's your ticket. Let's get you there. Cool. Fund that kind of activity, as well as doing some scholarships, maybe non-traditional students and lower income students, anyone willing to go into mental health of any aspect. Probably several. I would hope to do several scholarships a year.
Yeah, I definitely think we talk about, well, we don't want to get into politics, but we talk about all these problems, and then mental health does seem to be very key to solving a lot of issues.
Yeah, and was it like the 80s that Reagan shut down a lot of the state and federal mental health facilities?
I think it goes all the way back to Kennedy.
At some point, I know that we've had some issues where they've just basically kicked people out on the street. Yeah. Well, that's not helping anything.
I'm sure Reagan had, whatever Kennedy started, Reagan just...
Yeah, they shut down a lot of the state facilities, and it's, maybe we need to look at some of that again.
Yeah. We go to any major city and you have all this just like crazy people walking around talking to themselves and sleeping on the, just homeless and I would say if you look at the homeless population, I would bet the majority have some sort of mental. And if your mental health is fine when you become homeless, I'm not sure it's going to stay great after you've become homeless. So whether it's a trigger, cause or effect. And you mentioned drugs, and they're all on, they're asleep on they're not awake, a lot of them.
Yeah, people say they don't believe in zombie apocalypse. Have you not been to Chinatown midday?
I know. Yeah.
It's we're in the middle of it. You don't even know. It's like it's just sad, but everyone's like, well, what can you do? Well, I'm trying to do something.
Yeah. I think it's so cool. And I'll definitely tune in. Oh yeah, if it's on TV.
Well, that's the thing. I need to find a live producer, because I do want to. I think it should be broadcast. I'm kind of basing. I remember the Jerry's Kids, the telethons when I was little.
Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, I'd love to have. I'd love to have. Now everything can be done online or on your phone or with an app. But I'd still love to have a phone bank of people answering the phones during the concerts. Just like back in the day. And then along the Jerry's Kids thing, I wanted to keep the fundraising going year round for this, not just an annual concert, which I do want it to be. I want it to be biannual in the States and annual. I want to take it abroad every other year.
Okay.
With my next location would be Amsterdam, I think.
Oh, neat.
Take it there. I've got some friends in the music industry that direction that I feel confident that can make it happen there. Wow. But maybe the out of the country, maybe it's not 4 days, maybe it's 2. Yeah. It's a concert, but then there's vendor space that have some of the same support that are the same types of vendors, but maybe not a big conference floor, but 2 Right Love on Our Arms. I'd love them to have a booth. I'm hoping they'll be involved. Wow. Clean Beverages. It's a yerba mate company, and I believe 50% of their profits go to recovery. Really? So I'm inviting them. I'm going to reach out to Jason Momoa's water company. The aluminum bottles instead of putting a bunch of plastic in the in landfills. I'm going to see if we can get their water as the water vendor.
Okay. This sounds really cool. So the problem with so many festivals now, it just seems like it's even Grateful Dead or Dead & Co. What I'm seeing is it's just it's like they're trying to sell things at a high price to people, and
I want to make this.
What is that?
Yeah, I want to make it really accessible. For the vendors, I'm thinking sliding scale. If you're a really small business, you're a small vendor. I don't know, hypothetically $100 a day for floor space. And then the food vendors, like I'm reaching out to Dutch Brothers because there's not great coffee in Vegas. And if I could get Dutch Bros to come in and during the first day where all the vendors are setting up their booths, maybe have really limited service, $4 a drink, whatever, so that everyone could, if you $4 a drink, you get that $1 tip. Right. So the people are setting up, at least they've got access to good coffee while they're setting up their booths. And then the next 2 days, we'll request, $1 a cup of everything they sell. or with the water, 50 cents a bottle of water goes to the house.
Okay, that's reasonable.
So it's just I want it to be accessible.
Right.
That's the thing. I want to make mental health accessible.
Right.
And make it lose the stigma.
Right.
And I feel like there's people in the entertainment industry that have kind of helped. Pete Davidson, he completely is open about his depression, his mental health.
I like him.
Jim Carrey, he's talked about
Jim
it.
Carrey, I love him. Yeah.
We're reaching out to him.
Don't know him, but
he's absolutely on the list to reach out.
Cool. Great man.
They've just made it part of who they are.
Right.
If we just kind of lessen the stigma, honestly, it would be great if you could say, I have PTSD, and nobody reacts any different than you say, I have a cold.
Who doesn't?
I have a broken leg. I actually was just diagnosed in December with PTSD. Okay. So that's it. In December, this whole thing means that much more to me because that's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, okay.
So, I just feel like there's so much that it's just such a stigma, and it would be great to just lessen that. Even just a little bit, just, Oprah has talked about her struggles. I cooked for her once in Sun Valley.
It's just so, our society is so like you have a job interview and you're supposed to have this, good hair day and be all smiley and everything. But in reality, we're all struggling. So I wish we could be more honest.
It would just be, and there's some folks on I see on Instagram that are very open and honest about their mental health struggles.
Right.
And like to see some of those folks.
Okay.
Maybe be on the stage.
Nice.
I've got a pretty big list that I plan to reach out to, but right now the thing that has to happen is I've got to get the venue.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask them to be I'm going to ask them to be the title sponsor. If they will reserve those dates without a dime put down until we've got more sponsorship, until we've got the band. I just want to tell a band, here's the date and location. Yeah. Can you do it? We're going to reach out to NetJet. We're going to reach out to Alaska Airlines, Marriott, Lowe's Hotel.
Wow.
Has said that they think that's where I have a friend that works with them, high up the food chain, and he's tentatively said, we'll hook you up with something. So, Gibson guitar, right? That's the thing that we'll get locally. I talked to the lawyer yesterday, and I'm going to have all the detailed convo with her in this week, and so she'll have to get insurance and vendor contracts and crew contracts and volunteer contracts, and then I guess we'll do like transportation and security and all that stuff on the other end. That's all stuff that we can arrange once we get the venue and the date. And in Vegas, we'll have to.
You got it all covered.
And I even know that I want to do a thank you dinner for the cast and crew and talent and volunteers that Monday because it's a holiday.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask the Dandy Warhols to play that. I'm pretty sure I can hire them for
that'll be fun.
And then DJ Rescue, I think she goes by Zia McCabe. She's in the Dandy Warhols.
Okay.
And she said she would DJ. So I'm like, well, if you're going to be there to DJ, we should probably have the band play too.
Right.
And then Arnold Pander, I'm going to reach out to him, DJ Pan Am, and see if he wants to jump in the mix.
Wow.
Just people I've worked with in film mostly, and I want to take as many Portland with me, many Portland crew. Like all my key leads, I want them to be from Portland, or they're people that I know and trust.
Right. There's some rapper that's like in LA, but she's from Portland. We saw her at a Northwest Music Festival.
Oh wow!
I can't think of her name right now, but
love to know about her. And Snoop Dogg, I know his uncle before he passed in Rio, and I've reached out to his other uncle Ricky. So hopefully we can get him in the mix. I'd love to have. I would love to put Snoop, and my dream team would be Snoop and Jason Momoa to be the guys that as soon as the band is over, then they're on stage and they're doing their thing for a couple of minutes until the next band starts across the way.
Oh wow!
Like that would be my dream team. Put that vibe out to the universe. But I really I want to do a gifting suite like they do at the Oscars and the big award ceremony for the talent.
Okay.
So, literally like just a our room with tables set up that, I know, I've got a connection to gourmet chocolates. I've got a connection to luxury bags. She's the one that does the luxury bags for the Oscar gifting suite. So hopefully she can hook us up. And so I'm going to reach out to some of my former clients, like Smith Sunglasses, and see if they can hook us up.
Wow.
I'd like a big donation from Nike. I'd like them to be a title sponsor.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel realistically they've had a rough couple of years PR wise. Maybe they should benefit from this, you know.
Yeah.
But then have the gifting suite with, you know, I'm going to reach out to Ryan Reynolds' gin, aviation gin.
Oh.
I've got friends with vineyards, going to get wine from that. And everything that doesn't get taken by the talent will become raffle stuff for the volunteers.
Oh, wow.
And the crew. So
exciting.
Yeah, I just, like during the event, I really want to I know that there's going to be people that are on the spectrum that might get overwhelmed in a large space with the music and the lighting and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to have a room off to the side where we've got some TVs and headphones and low light, and you can go in there, still enjoy the show if you're overwhelmed or it's just too much. I'll probably spend my entire show in there. You know where to find me.
Right.
But I've tried to come up with something for every. I've been a celebrity caterer and private chef for 33 years. I went to school for commercial rec and tourism, planning, programming, and management. So I've done a lot of events, nothing of this scale.
Yeah, this is huge.
But I feel like if I get the right team, we can do this.
Cool. Well, you have my support.
Thanks. I'm
whatever that's worth.
Hey, every little bit helps.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty big dream, but I just don't see a negative to it. I don't really know how you could not. There's nothing. I can't hate on helping mental health.
No.
You know. Yeah. I want to do a grassroots year-round fundraising efforts by on the website have a section where you can sign up and say, hey, we're gonna have a golf tournament and we want to donate 20% to you guys. So you fill out a form, we vet you to make sure that you're not a professional scammer.
Right.
And then we say, you know, go for it, and we'll give you a QR code that you can have that day or whatever, and then you can send us, you know, the check, the 20% of your event, whether it's a big golf tournament or it's a pickleball tournament in the neighborhood, or it's a cocktail night, or get a celebrity to cook dinner in our home that night, and you know, something, a yard concert, or anything. So they can sign up. When I was a kid, I had a carnival in my backyard for Jerry's kids.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we got a packet sent to us.
Okay.
And I remember, you know, you threw the ring around the duck in our little pond, and you broke balloons and bobbing for all these things, and then at the end of it, Mom wrote a check and we signed it.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, that was.
I remember.
Yeah, so I
didn't do that.
To be, I'd like to take that model and use it for fundraising.
Okay.
You know, because maybe not everyone can make it to Vegas. Maybe you can't donate out of pocket, but you could have an event that you can end up donating. Because I think it's the more people that feel involved, I think the better off we are.
Spread the idea and to make it like this is about local music. So, local musicians, get your thinking caps on. Stay tuned. And
reaching out to Cake and the Eels, and I know they both have band members in Portland.
Oh, wow. The Eels. Okay.
Alan Hunter, super talented bass player.
Yeah. That's a band people overlook too much. Yeah.
Oh, they're so good.
Cake everyone thinks of, but the Eels. Yeah.
Maybe Decemberists.
Wow. Okay.
There's a lot of Portland bands that are really good.
I know.
We are so lucky to have the talent pool we have here. It's just.
I got to play in a Portland band a bunch of years ago now, but we got to open for some of these acts, and it was pretty. I had an awakening towards how talented some of these groups are.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, I mean, what Tommy Thayer, Kiss. I mean, we've got a lot of talent in this town.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
It really is. We're lucky.
We are lucky. Yeah.
And everyone's going to be getting calls soon. I'm reaching out to Timbers, Thorns, Trailblazers. I just can't see that there's a negative to this. Like
I don't see.
there's all sorts of things that people don't like about different things, but how you just can't hate on mental health. That just isn't right.
Well, after like 3 years of everyone being in lockdown and the country going berserk, I mean,
yeah,
everyone thinking they know everything when no one knows anything.
Yeah, pretty much. That's those who know they have the words to tell. The ones with the words don't know so well.
Exactly.
It's a Bruce Cockburn quote.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Wow.
I don't know that he'd be really a great fit for a festival of this size because he usually does smaller venues and it's so personal. But
intimate, yeah.
I don't know, when we take it someplace else, maybe. But I think Amsterdam would be the next location.
Wow, that'd be cool.
And just got to get through this one. But honestly, the next hurdle is the venue and location and date. But I think I'm on the right path. I decided that the dragonfly would be the, symbol or whatever on the website. That's going to be just to have something.
The
logo. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we usually have one or two around the farm. Not all the time, but every now and then I see them. And I walked out my front door yesterday. There was a swarm of them.
Really?
We have an Asian pear, Bartlett pear, and rhododendron right out the front door. And there was, I don't know how many, but
it's like a sign. Maybe
it really felt like it. I just stood there in awe of just like, okay, what just happened? But yeah, I feel good about this.
So important, and our brain, I think, is really overlooked as being as important of an organ in our body as taking care of our hearts and our.
Without it, we don't have anything.
And,
doesn't matter how good everything else is. If your brain's going haywire, or it's not functioning.
It's key to.
So I'd like to see some people doing talks about like Dr. Greg Eckel. He does stem cells, but he's very holistic. He did my stem cells for my knees,
right?
And he's just very holistic in his approach to healing. And I think the great mind-body connection. I think he'd be wonderful.
Cool
speaker. But yeah, it's a big project, but I feel like I'm not scared of it. I almost feel like I should be, but it just feels like it's just meant to be.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head in terms of one of the key ways we could get out of this funk that we are in, in terms of all this violence we see everywhere, and like we mentioned, the homeless situation. How do we find a way out of it? I think mental health is definitely.
It's a place to start.
Yeah,
I mean, we just keep saying we got to do something. Well, how many times can we say that?
Right.
How many years can we say that?
Yeah.
And
we can't rely on a broken government to fix anything.
No, I mean, and I don't think taking things away is the answer. I think regulating a bit more.
I see. Regulation, I agree with that.
You have to have a license and insurance to drive a car. Maybe you should have insurance if you have a gun.
That's how I think of it too. I know that's controversial because, people are taught.
Or maybe your mental health should be screened if you have a gun. Right. Yeah. That should be really important. And some countries too. Japan does that.
Yeah.
I believe, I want to say Australia does that.
Yeah.
I want to say New Zealand. Anyway, I know Japan for sure. You have a mental health screening before you have a gun license.
I know this is very controversial to a lot of people, but I think the majority of the country is thinking the way you are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take anything away. It's our culture. We hunt. I live on a farm. We hunt.
Right.
We have a gun by the back door in case the coyotes come after the chickens or the ducks or the turkeys. Yeah. It's not.
I grew up around guns.
It's not. I have nothing against them. I had my NRA card in 8th grade because I went to Thomas Junior High School in Hillsborough, and we had a rifle range in the basement.
It's too bad they changed into something else, but they were cool back then. I mean,
it was PE. It was literally part of PE.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. It was safe. Exactly.
I had to pass a little test, and then
we
ended up not really being a hunter or anything later.
It was just it was a PE. It was no different than we had a swimming PE class. We had it was just a different. Versus, dodgeball and volleyball in the gym. It was just something different. But so I don't want to take anything away from anybody. I just think we need to look at who's getting a hold of things.
Yeah.
a lot of these recent shootings have been people with mental health issues have been able to buy guns, and that's why some of these things have happened. And I don't want to make this about the gun debate. I don't want to. That's again, I don't want to make this polarizing. I just want this to be a positive event.
Right.
There is I don't recall the name. I have to reach out to him again. There's a gentleman in Park City, Utah, that has a songwriters festival in September that is in support of his nonprofit, which is a mental health for musicians and artists foundation. And I learned about him through Sean Titchener.
What I like to do is speaking of songwriting, I like to take my crazy and put it into my songs, and hopefully not in such a way that it'll make other people crazier than they were before listening to it. But I think there's a good, putting crazy out there in a, just, okay, folks, I'm a little crazy, and here it is.
We all are to an extent. I don't know. I know everyone says, crazy versus normal. Well, please define normal. I don't know anybody normal, and I know a lot of musicians, so.
Well, one of my bands is called The New Normal, and it's kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek, I think, because like you said, what is normal?
I don't know that there is a baseline definition for normal, but I really look forward to trying to create some more awareness, some more acceptance, and and have a good time. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be very fun.
Great time of year, people excited about not being winter, and spring's about over, and you're moving into summer, and so it puts people in a good mood.
Yeah. So I'm just, once I get the date, then I'm very excited for this to blow up.
Cool.
But I don't know the date. I just need the location. I just need them to say yes. But
Vegas.
Yeah, well,
we know that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the right spot. So. Okay. But that's the adventure.
Well, I'm really excited about this, and I'm also, thankful that you have come, to share this on this podcast. Which
thanks for giving me the opportunity. This is the first time I've really spoken about it on a really public forum. January of 2020, I was catering for my financial investment broker, Lisa Brum, and it was a women's event, and each one was talking, going around introducing themselves, saying what they're doing, why they're there, and I said, this is what I want to do. Of course, that all shut down, but I did put it out for the universe at that point, and It's always been in the back of my mind, but I've just been waiting until, it was a little safer to be out in public. I was thinking, can we invent some sort of a low pressure air blower on the ground that blows up so germs just go up and out. I mean, I was really trying to, brainstorm, how do we do this in a pandemic? But now that things are trying to settle down.
Yeah, I think your timing's right on.
Better about it. And by 24, I hope that.
I mean, I know, I see people still getting sick everywhere, and, we're not.
It's not over. It's just gotten more, it's kind of, this is part of the landscape now. I think it's always going to be like the flu. We have the flu every year.
Right.
It's just nastier, but I think it's just going to be with us.
The flu, basically, as I understand it, is just a leftover from a previous pandemic.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just part of the landscape now. We just have to do what we have to do with it. But I know there's a lot more people with PTSD and issues now than there were before the pandemic. So.
Oh, yeah. I admit I'm struggling with stuff. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, I lost my sense of taste and smell as a caterer and chef. That was true. Okay. I was on a film set in Livingston, Montana. Mm-hmm. Went to the Chico Hot Springs to meet with a native musician. The two of the leads in our film are Native American actors, and hey, I'll see if Gary was interested about doing some music for us. So I kind of broke the little pod. We were very tight on our crew. Our cast and crew was about 16 people. And we were really careful to just go home and come to work and go home and not get infected. I was the only one that had to go to the grocery store on a regular basis with a mask, the whole bit. But at Chico Hot Springs, I ended up getting it there. I never felt sick. I just lost my sense of taste and smell.
Wow.
And we shut down production and started 3 weeks later. And And now we've been released in 100 theaters nationwide in February. And the dude, Jeff Bridges, he just tweeted about our movie. He saw it. He loved it. He's like, go see it. The takeaway is it's called The Year of the Dog.
Wow.
And it's got John Proudstar from Reservation Dogs.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, he plays one of the lead's dad. They call him Uncle Leon.
Okay, yeah. It's a long time ago.
And then Michael Spears is the other Native American actor that stars in it.
Okay.
And it's based on a true story. And
right.
So yeah, I got it, and then only 2 people got it from me, but it was again very mild. And then we came back, we were all good, and having lost sense of smell and taste as a caterer has been.
That must be tough.
It's been a kind of a strange journey, but I'm adapting. I can still taste things. I just taste terrible.
I think it starts coming back, from what I understand.
It's shifting.
Okay, yeah.
It started coming back a few months, like in May of 21. But I never liked beets. I love beets now.
Oh.
I lost raw onion recently. That started tasting bad. Basically, bacon disappeared. It tasted like nothing, but it's kind of coming back.
I wonder if that's why there's lately. I don't go out to eat much, but it seems like every time I go out to eat, there's something that has way too much salt in it, and I'm like, can they taste this? I mean,
it's I don't know. It's someone recently told me try Nicorette gum. I'm not a smoker. They're like something about Nicorette. It's the lining between the nerves in your mouth and your brain that processes it.
Oh.
It's like a game of telephone. You say one phrase, and by the time it gets around, it's something different. That's what it is. My tongue tastes fine, but the time it gets up to my brain to know what my tongue is tasting, it's altered to something else.
So you got to kind of like retrain your brain.
Yeah, I'm looking into trying to do that, but I know I'm not the only one. That's had that happen.
Yeah, no.
There's people that are big coffee fans. They're like, coffee tastes like diesel.
Oh, goodness. That would drive me crazy.
So that's got to be fueling some people's mental health.
Yeah, I would think so.
I like to say health problems versus mental illness because it just sounds less stigmatizing. But
yeah, I mean, we're all working on stuff.
Yeah.
It's just the human condition. I think that is how I see it. And like you said earlier, our politicians have basically wiped out any solutions that.
And they're not real quick to jump on fixing it. So
no,
I guess it's up to the private sector, and
the corporations tell them how to spend the money, and that's what they do.
Yeah. And
I wish the public would notice that.
Yeah, it's just it's a rabbit hole once you start looking at what they could spend money on that would be better spent on actual people versus finding out if cats can taste bubble gum.
The industrial
whatever
complex,
they study these days. 10 million to see if your cat gets unhappy when you leave. Wow, really?
Wow.
I pretty much could have told you that. Look at that chair.
I know they're mad. Yeah. I know that, they get depressed when they're gone.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe this will help spur the government to put more money and more funding into research.
One would hope.
We'll see. Guilt them into it. I don't know. But
I don't know if they have any capability in that.
Yeah, I don't think they don't have empathy, or you can't make them guilty anymore. Are,
psychotic.
Yeah, pretty much.
People vote for this for these people.
I know. There's 2 women in particular, but we don't have to go down that road. But how in the world either of those women got elected is completely beyond me. But again, mental health issues. There's people that that believe crazy things that then get elected.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I think that, like you said earlier, just these steps that we can take, like you're doing, to move things in a different direction can only help. So
I mean, let's make it easier to talk about and safe to talk about, and not be something that's, if you're at work and you're having an anxiety attack, they're not going to fire you. They're going to send you home for the day.
Right.
Or they're going to let you leave and come back in an hour, whatever it is, I just feel like there's a lot of stigma out there, and unfortunately, the people that get it, but a lot of people don't.
There's also like a lot of what I see is corporations will say they're doing something about mental health, but if you ask me, what they're doing is driving everyone crazy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's some places that have, you know, they've got the more holistic approach to their whether it's a co-op space that there's 10 different businesses, and they've got yoga classes weekly, and they've got, you know, you can have your acai bowl, or you can have your coffee or your green juice or whatever. They provide that for their employees and try and just encourage health in general.
Right.
And that's, you know, that's in the big corporations. You know, I've heard Google has a very good office layout for those kinds of things.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the big corporations are trying to go that direction, which is great. You know, happy employees are going to work better than unhappy employees.
That's what I think.
And if you can provide a healthy lunch for them every day at low or no cost, then they're going to eat that, and they're going to be more productive, and their brain's going to function. And it's all tied in.
Certainly, food is a big part of mental health. If drinking enough water, you know.
There's so much that, you know, we're just like jellyfish that got a bigger brain. I know we need the water, we need the
exactly.
You know, we have to take care of ourselves, and a lot of people don't. So it's one big situation, but it just all.
But key
the whole picture, you know, it's.
I think you've found something, and like you said, you've been thinking about this for years, you know, now. So
so hopefully we can make this happen, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Cool. I just yes, let's get the T-Mobile Arena.
Yes,
putting that out to the universe.
T-Mobile Arena, cool.
Well, I thought about the MGM, but they're so booked. Their annual
That's
stuff.
What you were,
yeah. There's just too much going on there. And then I thought about Thomas and Mack Arena at UNLV. I saw U2 there for the Joshua Tree tour back in the day, and it's a great outdoor stadium. But school is still in. It's the beginning of the school. It's either if I do March or if I do May, it's still school is in, and if I do Labor Day, school is just about to start.
Right.
So that's not looking great for college campus.
Okay.
That's where we want to draw all our volunteers, is from the colleges, their recreation programs and their production programs and their hospitality programs.
But you want a place that's used to doing these kinds of events.
Yeah, so I thought, well, the campus can't be good because they're in school. So then I started looking at different arenas, and this is the newest, the T-Mobile, and it seats 20,000. Madonna's going to be there this year.
Wow.
So it's, you know,
that's
definitely that speaks to what they can do
one
there.
One of the biggest acts touring right now.
So I figure, okay, that's the place to go. So that's what I'm hoping.
Cool.
They will come on board.
Wow. Well, it's super important, and it might just make the kind of difference we need. So I think it will. Yeah. Like you said, you know, I think it's baby steps, and this is a giant baby step for moving things in the right direction.
Yeah, and I want to also have I talked to the webmaster about having a section where people could become contractors with us through the website, and maybe someone that has either a physical or a mental situation that they're just not comfortable leaving the house, and they can't work a 9 to 5, but they still have the capability, they want to work. They can sign up as a contractor. We go through some small vetting process. I'm not sure what that looks like, but and then there's a section where you can go, oh, we need to enter these 500 addresses into a database for printing, for mailing labels. I'll take that task today. And you claim that, you do it, you turn it in, and you can get paid. So if you can't leave your home, or you just can't do more than a couple hours at a time, whatever, you can still make some money, and you can work for this and work towards the end goal.
Right.
And I think that's what we really want to be inclusive on this.
Right.
So
yeah. I mean, we can make everyone do Zen meditation, but Americans are not good at learning something like that. I don't even understand it. I've been trying to do that forever.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of resistance out there to things that would be
Resistance.
really good for people. Yeah. You know, like they don't want yoga in schools because that's that. You know, there's always the conspiracy groups that yoga's bad. Really? Okay, that's a strange thing to hate on. That Buddhist religion, it's not a religion.
Right.
It's Buddhism. It's not a religion. It's philosophy.
Right.
So there's a lot of resistance to the unknown.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
you know, humans tend to latch on to what they were taught as little kids, and then you know, I guess people forget that the world changes. You know?
Yeah, you know, it's just because it was this way at one point in life doesn't mean, in history, doesn't mean that it's needs to be that way for always.
Right.
You know, there was a lot of haters when the Iron Horse showed up. You know, the automobile. Oh, that's not gonna last. We hate that. It's like,
if we could just look at life as, take a look at this chart and see this is where we're at. This dot here. This is us. The dot used to be over here, but now it's here. So that means we have to change our way of thinking.
Yeah, we just have to keep
whatever it is
moving forward.
Right.
You know, just progress. And
Right.
we've seen some backsliding lately, but we'll get beyond that.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
Yep. It's always one step forward, two steps backwards. It seems, but
it's cha-cha, right?
Right. Exactly. But that doesn't mean we can't try to keep taking the steps forward.
Yep, absolutely. I feel like this is going to be a learning experience, and it's going to be a cha-cha.
Cool.
It's going to be wild, but I'm ready to tackle it. So.
Well, your heart's in the right place, and you have the experience. I can tell, and devotion to it. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. It's a new adventure. I have a good friend I've known for maybe 30 years now in Park City, and she was my +1 at Tribeca when I went out there for the red carpet for Lorelei. I worked on that movie and have a tiny little scene in it. And the other day I told her that I was living on a farm out in Scappoose. And the message I got from her was, whoa, people say that Madonna is the queen of reinvention, but you make her look like an amateur. And I was like, okay, I'll take that. Yeah. It's kind of true.
I hear that, yeah.
You know, 30 some years of catering and celebrity catering, and
just never know with life.
This is a whole different event. And, you know, plus living on the farm, that's a whole different experience from the usual. I've lived in a lot of resort towns. Park City and on the Oregon coast and Sun Valley and Southampton, New York, and just all over.
I think it's good for people to live in different places. It's been good for me. I'm originally East Coast and thought I'd never leave there. And then,
well, they say travel kills prejudice.
Well, that's the thing.
So
I mean,
the more you can get out and around and see what other people live, the better off you are.
Right.
I think spiritually, mentally, all aspects.
I know it did change a lot of biases that I had, just from not having lived in, seen enough of the world. But yeah, so people go to Las Vegas, see this show. If you haven't been to Vegas, this is a good reason.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and this will be on. I just got the podcast on Amazon and on Audible as well.
Great.
So it's expanding.
Fantastic. And as soon as I have the date and location, I will let you know, and you can throw a little update out there.
Yeah, we'll put it on the blurb that goes with the podcast.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
I can edit that anytime. So.
Fantastic.
So.
Oh yeah, I think I stuttered a bit. There's some editing
to do. I've been watching podcasts, and I cannot believe how sloppy some of these productions are I'm seeing out there. There's one I was watching, I forget, some comedian, and she's like spilling stuff and cleaning it up and just being all wacky, and I'm like, I think I could do a better job than that,
I think it'd be fun to do a cooking one. So I started
cooking one,
I started a business called Her Royal Highness Canna Chef in February of 2020.
Okay. Oh yes, you should do a cooking one.
So so that kind of went away, and then actually another chef friend of mine on the coast just booked a 20 women from the Dank Girls
Okay.
on 420. So I was down there for that 4 days catering for them. So I actually got to do a little bit of cannabis catering.
Oh, decent.
But it's one of those. We'll bring it back slowly. If anyone wants to do anything, I'll do it. But I'm kind of concentrating on this right now.
Yeah, this is like you said, as big as Live 8. I mean, that's a huge thing.
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah,
I like to have that impact.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I don't think there's really been anything in the last couple decades that have had that sort of an impact positively on anything that I can think of. I mean,
not really. Not like that.
No, and it was such a great format. You know, it worked back in the day. That was those were great fundraisers, and you know, it changed lives in Africa, which was the African continent. I think that's where Live Aid was, the money went.
Well, my understanding though is the money they raised had one problem, which is the governments of some of these countries were not allowing the food to come in. I mean, there were some real issues.
Yeah, I think there was problems with NGOs. I remember something back then, but that was so long ago. But that was the goal. And then for Farm Aid, I know John Cougar Mellencamp, you know, helped a lot of smaller
Nelson.
farmers that were going under, and Willie Nelson. There were so
Neil
many.
Young,
that was an amazing concert. So, that's the goal. Same size. Pretty much. You want to keep it. I'd like to keep it rock and alternative rock and
cool.
If I can get Eminem and Snoop Dogg, then rap is all good with that.
Well, but, you know, rap's 50 years old now.
I know.
Well, you might even argue older.
And even I want to even see like Snoop do a talk. You know, he's got kids music out there. It's super positive, uplifting kids music.
He's a good business person as well.
And he's just happy. He's just always stoned, but that's that works. You know what?
Yeah.
And
him and Martha Stewart.
Yeah, I love those two together. Oh God, if I can get him, he's got to bring her. That's gonna have to be the. You know, I envision having a couple people as soon as the band comes off stage, come on out and talk for a couple of minutes and whatever it is. You can update the totals we've made during the last hour. You know, we went from this to that, or
like
so and so. Just this corporation just sponsored a $1,000 matching grant. So the next hour, if you call, we'll match, or whatever. Like a telethon,
right? Yeah.
You know, and they can talk about it, and then turn everybody around, and the next band's ready to go. Yep. So any and everyone is welcome.
Cool.
I'd love to have Martha, though. That would be.
She might.
That would be.
She'd probably say yes.
I hope everybody does. Yeah. I hope that people just want to jump on board, because I want to get Dave Grohl.
Oh, Dave Grohl.
I've got to have Dave Grohl between Kurt Cobain, Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
Chester Benefield, Taylor Hawkins. I mean, he's kind of had a lot of friends that have.
They're no longer alive.
Yeah, they're that kind of genius, artistic genius it comes with a price, and that guy's been right in the center of the hurricane. So I really hope to get the Foo Fighters. Like they're
Dave
literally
Grohl is a force. Yeah,
they're the top of my list, right there with Gaga and 21 Pilots. It's like those three are the dream.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for Dave Grohl. I just. How could you not? It's just amazing.
So there's just every time you even think about almost any band you can think of, there's something. Yeah. Red Hot Chili Peppers. They've Flea's talked about his struggles.
Oh right.
There's just so many. There's so many options out there. So we're just gonna go far and wide, reach out, and hopefully get a couple of people. Then they can reach out to their friends. Yeah. And make it happen. And just grassroots it right into existence.
Yeah, you pull off the first one, and then the others.
Right, the others. Then you've got the blueprint. Like I said, I think taking it to other places, a 2-day music festival is a great. I don't know that they really need the conference floor. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I just have to see how it plays out and what other places what they want to do. You know, focus on what that country's biggest issue is. You know. But yeah, we're just
8 billion people. I mean, we want to make sure we have as many of them happy and mentally healthy as possible.
Oh yeah, really. It's just so overwhelming, and just nothing's being done. So this is just a tiny start, but hopefully we'll pull
like you
this
said,
off.
there's a stigma, and it's a shame, So good for you for not only talking the talk but walking the walk.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had my struggles. There's days I wasn't able to get out of bed. I just couldn't do it. It was just too much, too overwhelming. And then I recently, like I said, found out it's PTSD. So in therapy every week and working on myself now.
Good for you.
So
and now you're going to help other people.
Yeah, I hope to. I hope to.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
And this has been Musicians Viewpoints, and this was Krysta Kelley. Stay tuned. I will keep updates posted on the metadata attached to this podcast.
Yeah, and I've got the domain name, but there's nothing there yet. So once the website's live and we get the date, I'll update you, and you can pass that on.
Cool. Will do.
Thanks.
Yay. Okay. And I'll play a song after this too. Anyway.
Oh, cool.
Whatever it is.
That was fun.
Hey, wow, that was such a great interview. And thanks again to Krysta Kelley for showing up here in Corvallis and being such a great interview. And I wish her well on getting this very important event going. And I give it all the support I can possibly muster up. So, and I leave you today on this podcast with some Blue Skies. Enjoy. It's me on the drums and also myself singing. Blue skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Blue birds singing along. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Never saw the sun shining so bright. Never saw things going so right. Notice the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my how they fly by. They fly by. Bye, bye, bye. Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Ba 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 da 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 da. Chicka chicka, chicka da da, ooga, piggy piggy bop bop. Ba da do, rap, rap da 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 da. Skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue skies from now on. Blue skies from now on. Blue skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Nothing but blue skies